Welcome everyone to one of the most wonderful events we have every year here at Carolina's Healthcare System Blue Ridge, wherein we take a pause in time as a country and as a healthcare system to spend time recognizing those of us who have served our country, who have sacrificed their time and families to go before us and serve our nation, to provide us the securities that all of us enjoy every day. And so today it's altogether appropriate for us to celebrate our veterans. Thank you for coming out today and joining us for this special occasion. Today we have some very special guests that will participate in this joyous celebration that I want to take the opportunity to introduce to you in advance, because I'm convinced that these young people will indeed someday soon be not only leaders of our country and our state, but hopefully will be leaders of Carolina's Healthcare System Blue Ridge and stay right here in Burke County, McDowell County, Southern Caldwell County, and continue serving the healthcare needs of our community. So at this time, I just want to take a moment and again in advance share with you some very special guests that will be sharing their gifts and talents with us in a few moments. Today we have with us the color guard from Freedom High School Junior ROTC, young men and women who already have committed themselves to the noble service of their state and country. Under the leadership of First Sergeant Trina Hines and Lieutenant Colonel Terry Conley, you will witness the color guard of Left Guard Cadet Donald Rogers, the North Carolina flag bearer Cadet Andrew Wilson, the United States flag bearer Cadet Chad Wright, and the Right Guard is Cadet Elisa Kitty. Also joining us today to my rear is the Patton High School Chamber Singers, led by Brittany Howes, their director. Young people who will share with us our national anthem in a few moments. By the way, each of these students, this is a day off for them, and they're here to bless us both with their patriotism and their gifts. These young people for the chamber singers are Malia Massey, Emily Morrison, Juan Lopez Mateo, Lacey Bellinger, Dana Decker, Amy Vang, Annie Camp, Ava Miller, Bethany Klein, Jared Kuhn, Brady Mole, Candace Ferris, Megan Chapman, Annie Odom, Louis Sieper, Adonis Chavis, Eric Nicholas, Jessica Dale, Tyler Bronwood, Austin Wolf. In a time when young people are heavily criticized by our society, I'm pleased to commend to you the young people of Burke County to celebrate with us our veterans of Carolina's Healthcare System Blue Ridge. At this time, we will have the posting of our colors. please post the colors.
Post. Post.
Please rise as we say our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now hear our national anthem. You may be seated. Perhaps this is the most solemn of moments during this celebration. It's what we've come to call here at Carolina's HealthCare System the Carolina's HealthCare System Blue Ridge Roll of Honor. And so at this time, I would ask you to hold your applause until we have read the names of our veterans here at Carolina's HealthCare System Blue Ridge. But I would ask our veterans who are here today to please rise so that we can recognize you and your service. Moises Aguilar, Dr. Kaja Asanadin, Jean Allman, Natasha Anderson, Bobby Babson, Michelle Baker, Dr. Brian Bauer, Dr. Manpreet Bhutani, Jamie Boone, Deborah Bowman, Dr. Mark Brzezinski, Dr. Eric Breiter, our chairman of the board, Michael Bridges, Jeff Bright, Roger Britton, John Buff, Dr. Edward Bajold, Hattie Bumgardner, Jeremy Carlisle, Randy Chester, Dr. Jim Chemiak, Dr. Christopher Clapp, Dr. David Clark, Todd Cook, Andy Crossley, Carrie Crossley, Sandra D. Anglias, Dr. S. Andrews Deakins, David Dennison, Dr. Deborah Diaz, David Everhart, Ron Fulmer, Dennis Garden, Dr. Jackson Janant, Cindy Jo Gentoo, Todd Gorman, Steve Grady, Dr. Quincy Green, James Griffiths, John Grubbs, Christopher Hale, Yia Hang, Dr. Elsie Hart, Sheila Hathcock, Mike Hefner, Dale Henderson, Ross Henderson, Curtis Hildebrand, Leah Hilton, Rick Humphreys, Travis Johnson, Robert Jones, Joe Kendall, Thomas Logan, Brandon Lynn, Marina McBrady, David McInnes, Donnie Martin, William Minor, Terry Moore, Dr. Patrick Morgante, Gary Parrott, Dana Perdue, who is deployed at this time, Joe Pickert, David Pope, Dr. Thomas Pope, Bruce Randall, Priscilla Reel, Terry Reynolds, Andrew Robbins, Jerry Rogers, Kenneth Roseborough, Ron Sevilla, Dr. Daniel Shapiro, Dr. Grady Shue, Jacqueline Smith, Kyle Smith, Tim Smith, Dr. Frank Steele, Joel Steyerwalt, Drew Thomas, Dr. Brendan Tribble, Herbert Michael Walker, Derek Wally, Dr. Scott Whidden, Michael Wiest, Sharon Wilkins, Jerome Witherspoon, Eric Woody, Dr. Jeffrey Zapawa, Dr. Jason Zook. I am mindful that in a crowd this size, there are others who have served our country and our veterans. Won't you please join me in thanking them for their service? You may be seated. Today we have the pleasure of two individuals coming before you and sharing a few thoughts. We will hear from our President and CEO, Ms. Kathy Bailey, who will share with the audience her thoughts about this special day, about veterans and what this special holiday means for our organization, what you as teammates, physicians, volunteers, community members means to our organization. And you'll also have an opportunity today to hear from Dr. Thomas Pope. Dr. Pope served in the United States Air Force and was stationed in Okinawa from 1973 to 1976, where he was a flight surgeon during a period of time in which there was a lot of turmoil in our country, when perhaps veterans were not celebrated the way they should have been. Dr. Pope has dedicated his life since 1979 to taking care of patients here in Burke County as an obstetrician and gynecologist. I think you'll enjoy hearing from him after Ms. Bailey's few thoughts about this most special day. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Bailey to the podium.
Welcome and thank you for attending. We're here today to honor our service members and the sacrifices that they've made. We're here today to honor our heroes and to say thank you. The service members that we honor here share several fundamental qualities. They possess courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity. They were called to be part of something bigger than themselves. They were ordinary people who responded in extraordinary ways. They rose to our nation's call because they wanted to protect us and our homeland. They follow in the footsteps of generations of fine Americans. Today, people throughout our country will gather to remember, to honor, and to pay gratitude to those of you that have served us and served our country. From the soldiers who shivered and starved through the winter at Valley Forge, to the doughboys crouched in the muddy trenches of France, to the platoons that patrolled the jungles of Vietnam, and to the young men and women patrolling the mountains of Afghanistan. We remember and we honor you all. Thank you for attending today. God bless you and your families. God bless our troops, and God bless America. Thank you.
Before I really get started, I want to lay to rest a rumor that's been going around. I absolutely did not fight in World War I or II. So, having said that, each of us who served had a different motivation. Most of you are too young to understand my motivation. It was called the draft. Fortunately, we got deferments for being in school, but as the Vietnam War continued to blast forward, those deferments were greatly reduced, and by the time I graduated from college, only medical and divinity students could get a deferment. Fortunately, I was in medical school at that time. However, as time passed, I began to worry that I might have to become a medical missionary. When I did finish, we still had the draft, and I still had a lot of training to do in medicine. So at that time, they had a program called the Berry Plan, in which people who had graduated from medical school could sign up to go into the military either after their internship, after 1 year of residency, or after a full residency. Still not knowing what I wanted to do after finishing my internship, I elected to go in at that point, which sent me to a very interesting place called Brooke Air Force Base in San Antonio. I don't think there's ever been a person served in the United States Air Force who didn't go to San Antonio. At Brooke Air Force Base, there were a huge number of physicians there, some of whom were going to be general medical officers, some of whom were going to be flight surgeons. So after 2 weeks of basic training, which included learning who to salute and where to pick up your check, we started our flight surgeon school training, which was a very interesting process. tremendous amount of effort and time was spent in learning some of the physiologic effects of high altitude flight on people who were serving as either pilots or other members of the aircraft crews. Very interesting. Since I was being assigned to Okinawa, which had the only compression chamber in the Orient, I also had to go through compression chamber training. If Dr. Chimiak is here, he will understand exactly what that's about. That also was fascinating. I can tell you the whole time I was on Okinawa, we never used our compression chamber for an in-flight decompression, but we used it many times to rescue foolish Marines who had been scuba diving. Sorry, Mike. I also had to go to water survival school and I had to go to jungle survival school, both of which were fascinating experiences. As a flight surgeon, my main job was to make sure that the flight personnel were qualified for their duty and to take care of them when they became ill. That was only part of our day. The rest of the time we were supposed to see whoever came through sick call. At that time, one person who had preceded me at Kadena Air Base had established a GYN clinic because all of the other physicians hated doing GYN. Since he was leaving shortly after I got there, he asked for volunteers to continue that clinic. Having had a great experience at OB and GYN in medical school, I took him up on it. And so for the next couple of years, that's what I did when I wasn't doing flight surgeon training. Also, as a flight surgeon, we had to maintain our own status as a flight status, and that meant you had to fly at least once a month and maintain various physical capabilities. The units that I took care of were the KC-135 tankers, a very mundane group, and the SR-71 spy plane crew. Not quite as mundane. Someday I hope you get to see one of these fascinating aircraft. They are now retired, thanks to our satellite capabilities and our drone capabilities. Being in the military also gave me the opportunity to see fascinating places I never would have seen before. I bet very few of you have chosen to take a vacation to Okinawa. Okinawa was the last great battle of World War II. Fascinating place. I got to see the Philippines, Thailand, Korea, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. I got to be associated with some very fascinating people, wonderful people, fellow physicians, fellow officers, wonderful enlisted people, the local population of Okinawa, Japan. The things that I witnessed that impressed me the most during my tours was a tremendous amount of teamwork involved and goal-oriented behavior. These are things that we try to have here at Grace Hospital. Believe me, if you ever get them on the same scale we had in the military, you're going to make great progress. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Pope. At this time, if you'll please rise for the retiring of the colors.
Permission to retire colors.
Please retire the colors.
Retired. Colors. Pretty good. Arms. Order.
Please remain standing. At this time, we will have our invocation and adjournment after our chaplain, Dennis Stamper. Dennis Stamper gives us our invocation. We will have our adjournment for our veterans, our chorus, and the ROTC to the Lake James Conference Room, where we'll have a nice lunch for you. So we invite you to the Lake James Conference Room. Mr. Stamper.
I think it is indeed fitting on a day such as this that we together turn to our God in prayer. Let us pray. Lord, as we are here together, we are truly grateful for so many things today. For the beauty of this day, for the beauty of this place, for the blessing of having good work to do. Lord, we are thankful for this great country in which we live and for the freedoms which we enjoy. But we are very much aware, especially today, that there are many who have fought for those freedoms, who have stepped forward to guard those freedoms, and many who still serve and stand vigilant today. We are fortunate to have some of those good men and women among us as colleagues and friends. So, Lord, it is fitting that we, not just on this Veterans Day, but on every day, thank you and thank them for their service and their sacrifice. And, Lord, we pray your protection and your blessing on them and on us all. Amen.
We stand adjourned. Thank you for coming.